We are live. Hello, people. Hi, how are you guys? We are live and we are in the parenting week with a second session on beautiful topics. I have so many questions for today. I actually have questions every time I come. So we do not lack questions. I have so beautiful audience. So hi people who are ever watching. Hello, join in. Tell your friends and family we are going to talk about an amazing topic about teenagers, about tomorrow's leadership, about bringing out extraordinary teams, about so much related to parenting. How can as a parent, help your child find, pursue their passion, create the leadership in them, create entrepreneurship in them. There's so much to talk about, and I'm really excited. I'm always excited for the calls because I am so happy that there are so many guests joining in, and I have such wonderful community. They get ready. I don't know people sometimes. I know people sometimes, but even after then, the purpose matches. We share common purpose. We share common mission. We share common vision of being there for people. Hi, Bhakti. So good to see you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, Bhakti. I am also very excited. All right, tell your friends. Bhakti, you can share with your family. Tell them that we are online, and today we are going to have a special guest from. I think he's from Delhi, but if he comes, we'll ask him where is he from because I missed that information. I think he's from Delhi, and he's a TEDx speaker. He is a teenage mindset coach. He's done a lot of other things, but I would want him to share his journey with us so that we come to know what actually he has been through. Why did he decide to be whatever he is today? And all the questions that we have. So I'm getting like 10 of you online, and I have so many viewers. I want to know who all are there. Comments, guys. I will otherwise not come to know. How will I wish you guys? I will have welcome you guys. I can't see people. Hi, Meera Thakkar. Hello, share this live with all your friends and family. Let them know, let them see that, it's going to be for everybody who have kids, even the kid of my age. I mean, not my age. I have a kid of 1 year, 8 months. And Vinod Gupta is saying, nice initiative, Ruchi. Thank you so much, Vinodji. It is not the very first time I'm going live, Vinodji. Just to give you an idea, I've been going live since a long time now. And I have designed this entire week theme wise. I have been out there to tell people, that everything relies on the base of your relationship, of your marriage, and with your spouse. If you have a beautiful relationship, if you have a strong relationship, you share a particular bond, and have an intimacy level with your partner, you can. I guarantee this, you can and will achieve everything and anything you desire for. And with that, kind of thought in mind, and with that kind of purpose in my mind and heart, I have been there with talking about entire week of fitness, of being rich together, how to manage your finances, how to balance your money management between couples. This week we are going to talk about parenting. The coming week again we have a lot of surprises. I don't want to disclose. You guys have to wait for it. You will have to join my live so that you come to know what are the surprises that I'm planning for you. And don't worry, this entire month has been power packed planned for you guys, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy every bit of whatever I'm doing for you out there. So tell your people, tell everybody to join in, and we shall invite our guest and not waste much time and get him started. But before that, as usual, let me invite other newcomers. Can I see them? Can I see more comments? I would want to welcome all the viewers. Hello, people. Thank you so much for being so sweet audience to me. You have always been there to support me, and I really show my gratitude for you guys. You guys have been my strength. Hello, Smita. Look who's online. Hello, babe. How are you? Okay, I'm not sorry. I'm not supposed to call you that, but out of emotions, I love you. So I can see a lot of people. So I welcome you all, and I'm sure it's going to be an amazing session. And Kamalneet will be joining us soon after I introduce myself to you guys. So hi, this is Ruchi Hirani, mother to this amazing daughter, wife to a superhuman, a lot foodie. I miss sizzlers, man. I miss my food so much. A little crazy, but a strong believer. Choreographer turned homemaker turned author, and now a couple clarity expert, creator and curator of Happily Ever After Lifestyle. My mission is to help millions of newly married couples out there to design the first 5 years of their marriage in a way that they can overcome all the negative emotions by themselves, transform into a power couple, and thus design happily ever after. Because I strongly, strongly believe that happily ever after does exist. और हम क्या करते हैं? हम सिर्फ अपने शादी वाले दिन happily ever after वो टैग लगा के उसको दूसरे ही दिन से भूल जाते हैं. And I want to recreate that magic of falling in love, of feeling that, happy ever after is possible. I want to recreate the magic for all of you out here. And if you think that is possible, give me a thumbs up. Show that you believe in my purpose. You believe in that mission and dream of mine that yes, happily ever after is very, very possible. Hello, Rita. How are you? I know these calls are incomplete if I don't see your highs and hellos and comments, and I don't see you. I miss you. This is incomplete for me. All right, so it's time. We are 5 minutes into the call, and it's time to welcome our guest. Hello, KAMALNEET. How are you? Please be join us on call.
Hey, hi,
Hello,
Ruchi.
hello. Hi, KAMALNEET. How are you? Thank
Very
you
good. How are
so
you?
much for being on board. Thank you so much. I really appreciate and I welcome you to share your valuable knowledge with our audience. My audience are really looking forward to this session.
My pleasure, Ruchi. Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's such a pleasure to be here. I love the way you introduce the whole concept of, the day of the marriage, and when everybody is happy and the photographer is saying smile. And yeah, I really like what you said that it can be happily, forever happy thereafter the marriage. And
Absolutely.
so good to hear about what you're doing and your initiatives. And
Thank you so much.
let's get it going.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, coming tonight we are going to speak about. See, basically, my idea of inviting you here is to talk about parenting because I
Mhm.
believe that parenting is the very second step after having a strong relationship. So, once you're sorted with your married life, your relationship with each other, then your focus is entirely towards your kids when they come into your life, but that's the second step. And for that, I want you to answer a few of the questions that my audience have shared. And they're such wonderful questions. Even I am very excited to know that what are the answers to this. So, Kamali, basically, I have a daughter and she is just 1 year, 8 months old. But I am
Yeah.
so curious to know that what should I do to be a good mother? What should I do to, help her from the very, very beginning? Because she's so smart. Like, she's like 1.5, she's not even two, and she knows stuff that amazes us that bhai isko kaise aa gaya. So I think I don't want to lose on the opportunity and do something wrong. I lost your video, Kamalneet. If you can come online, it would be great to see you.
Did you
Okay.
lose my video? Am I
Yeah,
audible?
yeah.
Can
You're
you see
audible,
me?
you're visible. Yeah, you're visible absolutely. So Rita is welcoming you. Hello, Prachi. Hello, how are you? So Rita, hi. Rita, you would like to answer Rita? Kamalneet. It's on your screen. Can you see her comment on the screen?
Hey, hi. Yeah, I can see Rita's comment. Hi, Rita. How are you? So good. I heard Ruchi you saying that my daughter is brilliant. So are you taking
Yes.
all the credit yourself? Jeet
No,
is
I
getting no
would.
credit for that.
No, it's an absolute combination of genes, and you won't believe she's such a replica and a combination of Zito that मतलब उसको literally even cuisines, she likes particular thing that I like, and she likes particular things that Jeet likes, and it's absolute combination, it's absolute 50-50. So it's like genes wise also, I think her intellectual is 50-50, and something I think she's gifted. And I don't
Right.
want to lose out on opportunity to develop that leadership in her. I can see it, I can feel it, I can imagine for her. So I think those questions that have been asked by the audience, I've actually noted it down so that even I can capture those answers from you and use it when the time is right.
Sure, sure.
All right, so let's get started, Kamalneet, and I'm super excited to begin this session. Guys, I will welcome you in
Same here.
between. If you have any questions, please drop in the comment below so that while asking and while my questions, I can also take up your questions and Kamalneet will surely answer those. So don't think much, just drop in the comments and we'll take it surely. All right, Kamalneet, so let's begin. Firstly, as I don't know you much, I would be very, very interested in knowing your journey. Like I have heard people saying that he is the chef who have dropped his knife and picked up the mic. And I'm very, very, excited to hear that story behind this statement, why people say all this. And I want to know, how did you, decide to get on the journey of being a team mindset coach? Please tell us something about yourself.
Right. So many years back, in
Okay.
a hospital, a baby boy was born, and the doctor
Okay.
said that the doctor said to the mother that congratulations, you have got a chef who has come out. I'm just joking. That's not the case. So the journey from being chef, from being a person who was in the kitchen to doing what I do now has been quite a journey. Now, the point when I said that I was a born chef, or the doctor said, is just to make a point that when you're born, there is no decision on any profession, right? You are born like any other individual, and then life takes over. So for me, the decision to get into kitchen primarily was because of some background that I had. So I was born and brought up in Delhi in a simple middle class humble family, a joint family and a giant family. So I went to a school. I went to a community school, wherein the focus was more on Punjabi and Hindi more, and the culture back home was very similar again. And English as a language was also a barrier because there was no culture. And I would see some kids who would come from a background wherein they would be very well spoken, and I would look at them, I would feel a little inferior. So I had issues with expressing. I would feel
Okay.
stuck in terms of putting my words out, and even the boy who is sitting at the back knows the
Yes.
answer, but is not really
But
willing to
to
express.
answer, yes.
So, over a period of time, I got inferior looking around that I'm not up to the mark. I'm not able to really put my words out, not really able to express. And over a period of time, I became inferior. I became shy, underconfident, somebody who would not really express too much. So, over a period of time, I thought, that I'm not good for anything. I'm not good for anything. And sometimes you have people around you who say that कई बार टीचर्स ही मजाक में बोल देती हैं ये नालायक है ये कुछ नहीं करेगा
Yes,
now
absolutely.
they say that with the good intention so that the person becomes serious, but what really happens is the person who's
It
listening
affects.
to those comments sometimes gets impacted. So
Yes.
I would think inside my head that even I am thinking inside my head that I'll not be able to do much, and that's what people outside in the environment are also saying the same thing. So probably they are right. I picked up that belief, and when it was time for me to take a decision about my career, I thought I'll really not be able to do anything which is great and big. So let me do something which is easy and simple. And I remember walking up to one of my teachers asking her that, madam, what do you think I can do? And she said, Kamalni, with the challenges that you have got, uh, take up a back end job,
Hmm.
wherein you can be behind the scenes. And I said, madam, I think that's a good idea given my situation. And she said, why don't you become a CA? And
Oh, okay.
the very thought of CA, I thought, I'll not be able to do it because it involves a lot of maths and accounts. And I've been pathetic with maths, the mathophobia. And I thought I'll not be able to really pull it off. And I said, madam, can I do something simple? And back then, hotel management was a popular course, and she said,
Yes,
hotel
yes.
management is an easy course. It's easy, and then you can do that one. And I said, madam, but hotel management is all about being in the front. So how do I really, take up hotel management and manage my own
Be
issues?
at the back.
She said there is one option. You can take up, you can do hotel management and take up kitchen as a field.
Hmm.
And I thought, I was puzzled in my head. Like, kitchen mein kaam karna hai, nahi karna, I'm not too sure. But then I thought, if I really want to hide myself and if I don't want to be up in the front, I think kitchen is going to be, one option out that I can get. And I went to IHM Bangalore, did my 3 years of hotel management, and joined my first job in a hotel in a kitchen department. And I remember, the primary work that was given to me initially was, to cut loads of onions, and like really loads of them. And my chef would point out to a bori, bori, Hindi mein bori kehte hain,
Yes.
and the sack, and he would say, Kamali, wo ek na katta pada, they would also say katta or a bori
Okay.
ki ye wo pada, and go and probably cut it. and I would measure it and I would see that it is approximately 40 kgs. And I would wonder to myself, ki 40 kilo pyaz, is it a joke? What is happening? And of course,
Didn't
it
it
would give me
make
a
you
big
cry
lunch.
your lungs out?
I would not want to cry my lungs out, but I had no option because of the, sulfur. I would have these tears rolling down, and as a male, you feel कि कोई देख तो नहीं रहा that you're crying. You're not literally crying, but then this is primarily because of the sulfur present in the onions. But work over a period of time, everybody has that, small little voice,
Hmm.
the intelligent voice. It tells you that there is something which is not right, and my internal voice kept on growing too much that this is not done, and why have I landed myself here in a kitchen, and why am I not that kitchen is a bad job, kitchen is a great job, but only for people who like it, only for people who choose to be there, right? And for me it was not an option. And I remember that one fine day my chef said that, Kamalneet, I came to the hotel and he said, Kamalneet, today I have your favorite work. And I said, yes, chef, I know. I'll probably start cutting the onions. And he said, nahi, aaj na ek scheme hai. And I said, chef, what scheme is that? And he said, today it's buy one, get one. And, when he said buy one, get one, it took me a couple of seconds to figure out what is he saying. But when the message synced in, I was devastated. I realized that he's telling me to cut not one, but two, 2 sacks, which means about 80 kgs of onions. And that was a horrible feeling inside.
I
You know,
absolutely resonate with that. What traumatizing that would be.
yeah. Yeah. And I started cutting onions, and maybe sometime into the cutting process, the voice inside grew way too loud, and I found myself in tears. And not that my chef said anything which was wrong, but then my internal voice was telling me that this is not done, this is not fair. And when I'm cutting onions, so that day I had the tears were not of sulfur. That day the tears were of self-esteem which was shaken up, broken. And I decided to leave my job. And I'm thankful to that chef who did that, and I'm glad that happened. I realized that all this is happening because somewhere I did not believe in my own capabilities. I underestimated myself. I was trying to hide. I did not have the right belief systems in place. I did not have the right a feeling about your own self.
Yes.
And then it struck me hard that जो मेरे साथ हो रहा है, maybe I don't know how many thousands of kids would be going through the same thing in their school, and nobody is really talking about all these things. And I decided that I would want to jump into education, and jumped into education. The journey was hard because my very degree and my background of working in the kitchen was not being very supportive. But then things happened, and then I got going and got into the journey, and then very happy today that I've done things now. We have been able to reach out. We started small. I remember my very first session was with 37 kids, and have been able to reach out to more than 50,000 kids. Have been
Wow.
able to speak on a platform, Josh Talks, TED Talks, writing a book for parents, and do different things. And the goal is to reach out to 1 million kids in the next 5 odd years. And yeah,
Wow.
that's that. So
Amazing,
sometimes
amazing.
the pain,
Yeah, please
sometimes the
continue.
pain drives you. Yeah,
Yes,
sometimes the
absolutely.
pain drives you.
My story started with pain as well, Kamalneet, and that would be sharing for some other time. Absolutely, I got into this whatever position I am because of the pain that was there in me. I knew the pain of being in a broken marriage, being a bad marriage. I knew how frustrating I was. I knew whatever was going in my head, and I didn't want other couples to face the same. And I knew that this is possible. It's just that little shift and balance, and everything to be aligned is required. And so that's the same thing I can resonate with you. But before I jump into any questions, did you actually
Yeah,
cook something? I'm really interested to know that as a chef. I am
yeah.
a very
So
foodie person, so I was very excited that next time I meet Kamalit, I'm telling मुझको ये राजमा चावल खिलाओ, मुझको ये छोले पूरी खिलाओ. It's all that was going in my head.
आप ना वो जैसे वो एक रिश्तेदार नहीं होते हैं जिनको पता चल जाता है कि घर का कोई बच्चा होटल मैनेजमेंट करने गया है और वो पीछे लग जाता है फिर कि कब आ रहे हो सो I'll tell you this. So see, because I was not very keen, I was not doing that course out of choice. So my interest was very limited. But my family members would not really know. You know, Chacha, Chachi, Bua, Mami, all those people would not know. And they will probably pick up a call on me and say, recipe bhej de, ya kab aayega, cake kab banayega, and this and that stuff. So just to, and what really happened was initially मुझे इतना ये लगता था कि how will I actually tell them that I'm not enjoying anything. So just to keep myself, to keep my image protected, मैंने थोड़ी थोड़ी चीजें सीखी. And जब मैं छुट्टियों में आता था, I remember the very first time I came and I made a cake. So everybody was like, "Oh my God, Kamalneet is learning so much, this and that." But inside, I was not too keen to cook. But you know what? मैं bread jam अच्छा लगा लेता हूँ. मैं bread मक्खन भी लगा लेता हूँ. And I can also make nimbu pani. And yeah, I can make up I can make up some dishes
And then
and
you are a
simple.
very good friend of Jeet. Jeet can make really good Maggie.
My he can't beat me in Maggie.
Oh, is
I
it?
make the most brilliant Maggie.
I think I would love to eat that also because I'm a Maggie fan. So I think that was also fine with me. So how many years did you chop onions actually? I mean, how many months or years
So
did you have the
it was my
patience?
journey was less than a year in the hotel, and
Great.
I knew that this is something that I would not want to do, and this is something which does not resonate with my heart, and I'm glad that happened. I'm also equally thankful that happened because had that not happened, the next journey would have not started.
Absolutely.
So I think there was a plan in place.
Absolutely. So hi guys, hi all the new people joining in. Hello Yash and Doja, very nice dinner. Thank you so much. Hello Tina, hello Uru Savla, hello people. And we are about to start with the questions that I have, and we are already 20 minutes in the call, so I'll not waste any more time and jump in, dive in the questions right away. So yes, my very first question to you is you are a team mindset coach. So what is the
Right.
idea behind this? What is the thought behind this?
Right. So, see, if you actually look at it, one of the ideas is that when I look back at my teenage, the origin point of what goes through a teen's mind is basically reflecting on my own life. And when I look back at my teenage years, I knew that inside I was shattered. Though I would look one piece, but inside I was all cracked up. And I knew that there is so much that I kept in myself, and I would not be able to do and say and be. And I knew that this is what exactly a lot of teens also go through. Teenage is one age wherein there is so much of pressure. There is society
Yes.
pressure, there is parental pressure, there is academic pressure, then they have hormonal changes happening, and then there is whole thing about peer pressure. Then there is this likability challenge that teenagers undergo. Then am I
Yes.
getting the attention or not?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I realized that the most crucial age that a person has is actually the teenage. And if you can actually take care of that part, the rest of the life is sorted. Over the years, I've had the chance to to be at a lot of places and attend a lot of programs. And to my surprise, and also to my, to a great learning and understanding that a lot of things that happen in your teenage, they kind of direct your life. They become the
Yes.
GPS of the life, knowingly or unknowingly. And because I could look back at my life and I thought, I think teenage is that's the age when we can, take care of somebody, and we can really help them move forward. And to put this in a simple analogy, uh, people who know of Burj Khalifa, I sometimes I say this. If you look at Burj Khalifa, it apparently is the biggest building. Now everybody looks at the height. Everybody looks at the height of Burj Khalifa being one of the tallest buildings, but very rarely people look at the deep foundation. You know, so the idea is that if somebody really wants to go high, one that they start early, and second is that they dig deep. So the deeper you dig, the higher you go. So that's the idea that if you can do these things right during the teenage, you can really make a difference. And by the
Absolutely.
way,
Absolutely.
you know what? ये बहुत कमाल की बात है मुझे अभी तक समझ नहीं आता था लेकिन now I have a good answer for this. Uh, a lot of people would ask me that we have heard Kamal Jeet as a name, and I would say that my name is Kamalneet, and they would say hi Kamal Jeet, and I said no, my name is Kamalneet. And they would say that Kamal Neet nahi suna, humne Kamal Jeet to bahut suna hai. And I would say the name is different. And a couple of years back, somebody said, I did not even realize it myself, and somebody said, ये जो neat है ये different है, and if you invert it, it becomes teen.
Teen,
TW.
absolutely.
And that for me it was a blow. I said, oh my god, I never realized this, and yeah, so that's that. So teen years are
Absolutely.
crucial.
एब्सोल्युटली आपको कमलनीत और कमलजीत में हो रहा है, मैं तो 2 दिन से आपको मन में कमलनाथ बुला रही हूँ, पता नहीं क्यों गुजराती बना दिया है
My
नाम।
god. You have taken it to a different level altogether.
मेरे मुंह में बार बार इवन व्हेन आंसरिंग योर कॉल आई लाइक कमलनीत, आई हैव टू एक्चुअली बी वेरी फोकस ऑन कन्वर्टिंग नाथ इनटू नीत। Strange thing happening. So you're talking about teens, Kamalneet. I have seen this generation, even us. We are very, very creative. We have ideas. We are fresh with energy and creativity, but we are equally moody, choosy, picky, and we are under a lot of influence. अगर ये दोस्त
True.
ये कर रहा है तुम भी वो करो, ये दोस्त वो कर रहा है तुम भी वो करो, that is what is happening. And people are not able to have a proper path, okay, that because of which they are wasting valuable precious years of their life. So how as a parent one can help their child figure out their real passion and then pursue it and stick to it?
Right. So, see, one of the ways is that, I might disappoint somebody when I give this answer, but this is only in a very lighter way. You always, so to my left, so I have my neighbors as Sharmas,
Okay.
and we used to have neighbors on my right as Chaddas. So this analogy has always been very fit for me. Parents would keep on saying for everybody, कि शर्मा जी के बच्चे को देखो, उसके बच्चे को देखो, इसके बच्चे को देखो, and this and that maybe. Now, in the whole process, a child would feel, that somebody is doing well in a particular field. They would borrow the idea of somebody being successful in a particular field,
Yes.
not even
Yes.
realizing that what that person has gone through, right? Or what is
Right.
it that that particular field demands. So I think if any parent has to decide a career for their child, I think the number one thing that they can do is they can get out of the way. What I mean by that is that a parent should not be deciding a career for their kids. Ideally,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
you can always keep the options open. So you can do a very simple process. It's called understanding your identity, wherein you understand what is the personality trait of the child, what is his aptitude like, where is it that his interest lies, and then based on that you can go ahead with making a career choice. Because होता पता क्या है कि अगर आपने बच्चे को, let's say you are a doctor for example,
Hmm.
आपने बच्चे को डॉक्टर बनवा दिया जबरदस्ती, and then he is not enjoying,
Yeah.
he will blame you for all your life that dad, mom, it is because of you I'm stuck in a particular position if they don't like it. So
Hmm.
the choice should always be made by the child, and based on their personality, their interests, their aptitude, and instead of comparing kids with कि ये शर्मा जी के बेटे ने ये किया, and I think ask the child, once he identifies something, let's say a child says that I want to become, by the way, my wife is a CA, my teacher told me to become a CA, I could not, I got a CA wife. So let's say that if somebody wants to become a CA, uh, that child, the parent can definitely make an effort to, but at some point parents have to interfere about that. Okay, I think I'll answer that. And so what a parent can definitely do is that if a child is saying that I want to become a CA, the parent can make an effort to figure out 2 3 CAs and make their kids meet the CA, so that they can have a real time understanding of what that what is that experience like after becoming a CA, right? But
Absolutely.
if you enforce, if you
Hmm.
impose,
Hmm.
be ready for the blame. And if you can take it, it's a call. But I think it does not support in the long run. It does
Okay.
not support in
Okay.
the long run. Yeah,
So,
yeah, career counseling.
Kamalneet, Sonal over here is asking, but at some point, parents have to interfere. What about that? And I would agree that somewhere, I think when they are misguided, I think the question lies during that time when they are misguided or they don't have a path. Even for me,
True.
my parents have given me a lot of guidance, but I think they
Right.
never interfered.
Correct. So let's say the word in itself, has the answer in in the whole process. See, when you interfere, you're interfering from a point that, I do not agree to your decision, right?
Okay.
I would rather say that flip that situation and get into a discussion mode or a guidance mode with the child, that beta, whatever decision that you are looking at, right? I think as a parent, my perspective is that this might not work out, right?
Okay.
Let's do something. Let's go out and let's probably meet a career counselor, right? Somebody who's a professional, and see that what works well. Because a
Okay.
parent is not a professional career counselor. No parent is, right?
Absolutely.
The parent might talk from his experience that मैंने बेटा जिंदगी देखी है, and मैं बेटा मैं I'm your father, I'm your mother, मैंने जिंदगी देखी है. But then we'll have to realize that, see, we are not experts. जब हमारी गाड़ी खराब होती है ना, when we have a situation with a car, है ना, so हम ये नहीं बोलते मैं ही ठीक करूंगा. We go to a mechanic, because the mechanic can identify what is the whole issue, right? So that's what it is. So to Sonal, I would say that interfere. You can do a positive interference wherein there is guidance which is given, there is support, and then so that you can come out at a logical conclusion out of the same. लेकिन अगर आपने कहा कि नहीं, कुछ भी हो जाए, तेरे को तो बेटा मैं इंजीनियर बना के छोड़ूंगी, that doesn't work,
Okay, I hope we have answered your question, Sonal. If you have anything, please drop in and we'll share it too. Now, moving on to the next question, Kamini. These days, both the parents are working. They are exposed to the outer world. So, how can parent use that expertise, that exposure, that knowledge, and transfer it to their kids so that they get protected, or they get an identity of their own by having the parents' experiences.
Right. So if you look at it now, experience can be, let's say, twofold. One is that their life experience, right? And then the other experience can be their profession experience, which might come from their businesses, which might come from the jobs that they do. I
Yes.
feel that the experience one should pass on is we should pass on the life experience
Okay.
and let the child decide, what is good, what is bad, because there is a lot of conditioning which is happening. Let me ask you this: सभी के घर पे एसी है, you know,
Yes.
सभी के घर पे एसी होता है, right? AC stands
Yes.
for air conditioner, right? Now, in my
Yes.
terminology, AC stands for active conditioning, right?
Okay.
And then just about everybody has a PC at their place, a personal computer, right? So
Yes.
in my terminology, PC stands for passive conditioning. You know,
Okay.
so a lot of kids, because I've had the experience of being with the kids, teenagers on the ground, having heard from them, and they tell me the stories as to what is really happening. So I think a parent can probably look at active conditioning for their kids, either with their experiences, or they can seek a support. They can look out for a mentor. The mechanic thing is always it resonates with my heart. क्योंकि अगर आपको लगता है कि you would want your car to be in the best of the conditions, you don't maintain it yourself at times. You do the
Right.
basic, right? And you give it to an expert to handle it. And I think
Absolutely.
kids should be given an early exposure so that they can go in the right direction. Now, psychology says that 75%, which is about three-fourths of a child's overall belief system, his idea about life, his perceptions, they are made by about 15, maybe by 16. If so much is happening by 15, 16, how can you leave it to chance? You really cannot leave it to chance. So that's that.
Absolutely. All right. With that, I will go on to the next question. So, how do you see leadership in any child? And is there any checklist that ये चीज है तो मेरा बेटा leadership qualities pursue करता है या फिर नहीं करता? So, how do you find out? Because at the early age, you cannot really judge. People change over time. So, how do you
Right.
find a trait? It's a trait, right?
It is. I think there's a myth around it. So
Okay.
leaders are not born. In fact, when I do my sessions with teenagers, in one of the sessions, on one of my PPT says a myth, and then there is a truth. And the myth is that leaders are born.
Yes,
That's a myth.
absolutely. I've heard that too.
Yeah. The truth is that leaders are made. Right? Leaders are made, they're not born. Because जब बच्चा पैदा हुआ था तो डॉक्टर ने ये नहीं बोला congratulations आपको लीडर पैदा हुआ है, right? Nobody said that. So leaders are made, and how to identify a leader? Now, if you look at it, that in a classroom, uh, a teacher ends up picking up a class representative. You know, मुझे तो कभी नहीं बनाया. I had no leadership qualities.
I was always one of
And
them.
and so if you look at through the lenses of a teacher, she's looking at a couple of things. And if you actually drill down to the basics of leadership, I think it is as simple as somebody who can voice out, somebody who can, stand to help others. So, for example, let's say मैं classroom का एक scenario दे देता हूँ कि a child comes from outside. He's trying to enter the classroom and going to his desk. उस
Okay.
बच्चे का टीचर लड़ गया, and then he falls down.
Hmm.
You will see that 90% of the class is laughing,
Hmm.
right? And then there will be those two, three kids who will stand, walk up to him, and help him erect himself and ask him कि कहीं लगी तो नहीं, medical room तो नहीं जाना है. You spot a leader there, right?
Oh.
Because while there are onlookers and people who are mocking, there is somebody who stood and helped, right?
Hmm.
And बच्चों से पूछो ना कि name some leaders, they name all politicians, right? So it doesn't really take too much. Simple qualities: somebody who can voice out, somebody who can stand and help, somebody who can identify the right and wrong, and stand for the right. बहुत प्रेशर होता है बच्चों पे कई बारी कि ये चीज करनी है. शेयर इट विद यू. वन ऑफ दीज बॉयज, Sanam, and he's about 14 years old, and I remember this conversation happened about last year, and he said that I am being forced by my friends, my good
Hmm.
friends, to experiment smoking. And I
Oh.
said okay, and I said fine, what is your take? He said,
Hmm.
no, I don't want to. And I said that what will happen if you don't? He said, if I don't, problem ये है कि वो मुझे लल्लू बोलेंगे, वो मुझे ग्रुप से बाहर कर देंगे, and I said that are they real friends? So if they do not accept the way you are they real friends? And that opened something for him, and he said that I would not want to smoke just because I want to be a part of that group. I would rather keep my values intact. See, I'm not against or for
Hmm.
smoking. All I'm saying is that if there is something that you do not believe in, you don't
Hmm.
do it.
Yeah.
It's a simple call that you take. And he said that no, I'm not going to go for it. And he went and had a conversation with them, and he told me about the conversation. He said मैं गया and मैंने उन्हें बोला कि कि जो आप करने को कह रहे हो ये तो मैं नहीं करूंगा. But if you can accept me without me giving in to your ideas of smoking, we can be friends. Otherwise, I can be out of the group. And then he said, somebody, hugged him and said, "Yeah, tu to dil pe le gaya." I think that's where you see a leader who could voice out what he really feels and stands and can stand for what he believes in.
Hmm.
So parents के लिए जो आपने checklist बोला ना, I really like the terminology. That is there a checklist? पेरेंट की नजरों से देखोगे तो पेरेंट तो यही बोलते हैं कि अगर ये नालायक मेरी बात सुन ले तो ये लीडर है. which I think which necessarily is not always the case. And yeah, that I think leadership is simple and it is complicated at the same time. But I think leadership should be taught at a young age.
Right, right. So now my very next question would be related to that. But before that, Ruchi Thakkar is adding that very true. This is what is happening with kids nowadays. Peer pressure. That is what is happening. So she agrees with us. Mhm. Okay. So with that note, I am going to my next question: that how can parents give the right atmosphere to the kids from the very early age to build this kind of leadership, to create such kind of entrepreneurial mindset? So is there they can is there something about it that they can do right from a very young age?
Right. So I think it begins with, if you're looking at parents, they say charity begins at home, and so is the foundation. And they
Mm-hmm.
say that a lot of businessmen are made at the dining table and not necessarily outside. So what kind of conversations are you having with your child really makes a difference. If you want, see, first of all, a parent can also demonstrate their their integrity, their values
Right.
maybe. I tend to share a story a lot of times, which is uh, a young boy goes out and learns the lesson about the traffic signals. Yellow means wait, green means go, and red means stop. A young boy comes back home and says, Mom, Dad, I learned about traffic signals. And the mother says, Beta, why don't you go out with your father and actually practically see it? So the father takes him out and and when they see the red signal, they stop. When it's green, they go, and then when it's yellow, they are waiting. So the same night, वो families जो है, they go out for a wedding. वो wedding के लिए जाते हैं, and then they're coming back from the wedding, and the father is facing the car, and then the child is looking as to what is happening, and suddenly there is a red light, and the dad jumps it, and the child looks at the father and says, "Papa, but that was a red light." And the dad says, "You know what, beta, रात को चलता है." You know, रात को चलता है, right? So this child goes back home, goes to the school the following day. The teacher is doing the revision, and the child is puzzled, and he says, "You know what, ma'am, आपने तो सिर्फ
रात
डे
को
के रूल्स बताए थे, आपने
चल-
तो नाइट के तो बताए नहीं." So I think a lot of leadership can be showcased by the parents. I think they can be. They say that there are three brilliant techniques used across the globe. And with all my experience, all these years being with kids, teachers, and parents, I see there are three techniques that work really well. And
Mhm.
number one is be a role model, and number two is be a role model, and number three is
Okay.
don't forget the first two. Right? So,
Okay.
yeah, I think that gets the message. So crucial conversations with parents, conversations with kids, very very crucial.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is, I think, very much needed in time, and especially today when both the parents are working and they do not have much time with for the kids. The entire day goes in office travel, and then it's only the night time when they have a time to interact. And even that time, if they crib and be cranky with their kids, I think there is no development that's happening there, and the kid will definitely look out for the other sources, and which might get him on a wrong track. I don't assure that, but this might happen. So I think parents have to be there for their kids no matter what. So with
True.
that note, I have another three questions, and we are already 40 minutes into the call. So guys, we both are going on and on. If you have any questions, just drop in the comments, and I'm surely going to ask Amanli those questions so that you guys do not leave the live unanswered. All right, so I have two more questions left. The first question that is coming up is right from the childhood, we teach them different values of life. Okay, we set rules, we give them a rule book, we give them guidelines that ye karna, wo mat karna, and then when they come to teenage, their external experiences that life gives them are very contradictory to what we have taught them, and that creates a whole lot of mess in everybody's head and also creates a lot of biases. So how to deal with that kind of, when things are different at home and things are different from outside home? How do you deal with that differences?
Right. So even before they come to teenage, there is a huge gap which is happening, which is that parents want their kids to follow a certain thing, right? They are talking them about, they're teaching them the values. So values, if you ask me, they are. I think it can be a little. It can go in a different direction, but then I would like to say this:
Okay.
you cannot say one thing and probably do the other. So if you
Okay.
are teaching values, I would rather take this opportunity to put a humble submission to the parents that demonstrate values, demonstrate, not teach, because
Right. Right.
beta, say what I do, and but don't do as I do. Doesn't work. The child really wants to see what is really happening, and I think somehow when the kids are young, the parents are very very protective, like over possessive,
Yes.
and they say that if you raise soft kids, they will have a hard time, but if you raise hard kids, they'll have a soft time, they'll have a good
Better.
time.
Better. Yeah.
So I think from a young age, what I have seen and based on my interactions with thousands of parents all across, what I've seen is that parents who look at their kids, after a certain age, let's say 5, 6, 7, they look at them not as just mere kids. They look at them as somebody who's also a grown up, and they keep
Mm-hmm.
that child into the conversations. They keep
Okay.
that child into decision making. They keep that child into. They tell them what is really happening, right? Now that
Mm-hmm.
child is comparatively closer to the reality. But जिस बच्चे को हमने इतना दूर रखा हुआ reality से, like really far off, when he
Mm-hmm.
meets the reality, there is a
Mm-hmm.
clash out there. So
Mm-hmm.
I think more than anything else, it is the gap that a parent can bridge uh, by actually. I don't know who said this, but somebody said that do not prepare a road for your kids. Prepare them
Yes,
for the
yes.
road. Prepare them
I've
for the
heard
road.
it. Absolutely,
Because
absolutely. I've heard it.
रोड में गड्ढे भी होंगे, ट्रैफिक भी
Hmm.
होगा,
Hmm.
रोड रेज भी होगा. So
Hmm.
keep things as real as possible because बच्चों को ना वो पलकों पे बिठा के जब आप बड़ा करते हो and then they suddenly when they come out, the world is
Right.
very different, isn't it? The
Very
world
different.
is very different. Yeah.
Very different.
So,
Absolutely.
so
So
keep
what
them
you
closer
are
to
trying to say
reality.
here, Kamalneet, is that whenever the child is like say above 5 or 6, that is what the
Yeah,
age you have mentioned,
yeah,
try to not treat them as kids and give them the reality check often so that they know and they do not have a very much different vision of the world in their head, and they know what the real world is and how they are supposed to deal with and so on. Is that what you want to say?
yeah, exactly. See, I'll give you this example because I've seen these cases and I've heard these cases, and it's not a great feeling, but then it's important for parents to know. Now, from a young age, you really got to help the child understand that what is love and affection from the family members and what is
Okay.
love and affection from outsiders.
Wow.
Because if you do
Okay.
not teach him, if you do not
Hmm.
teach him, one day it can also become a case, a different case altogether, right? I know of somebody who would go to a local, shopkeeper, uh, about 8 years old girl, and she would go to that, shopkeeper now and then to buy bread and milk. The parents would send, and something wrong was happening until one day she realized that this is something which is not right. And when she opened up, and of course, then they confronted and things happened. But the point is that it's important that parents have these conversations. The
Hmm.
more conversations that they have, the more the child will be prepared for the real life. So that's one example. But if you look
Right.
at it, it can be in different domains.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great thing. I think all the parents over here should follow. And with that note, I have a very last question, and after that we take up audience question if there is any. So last question from my end is entrepreneurship comes in very later phase of life. So for me, it came when I was 2012, so when I was 22 years old. And pre that, I was never of that thought that I would become something of my own or I would have a business. I was always like job karna, you have to fix money. So
Correct.
how and what is the right age when you can bring this the feeling or the kind of what is the trait in the child? How can you imbibe entrepreneurship at the early age? Also, what is your thought? How do you help teams to get on this journey, and what do you do unique for them to bring the entrepreneurial characteristics from a team?
Right. So, see, the idea is this that I'll try and I like analogies, and I'll probably give another analogy, which is
Surely,
that
surely.
if you're building a house, जब हम अपना घर बनाते हैं, तो we hire an architect, we do everything. But imagine that you're building a house without
Mm-hmm.
a plan, without a map, without the expert inputs, and the
Mm-hmm.
house is ready, and then you think, कुछ घर में कुछ गड़बड़ है, and then you call somebody to figure out that what is it that's not right, and somebody comes and says, that the foundation is not in place, foundation
Mm-hmm.
थोड़ी weak है, so the building is not really ready to face earthquakes. अगर earthquake आया, there can be a problem, right? So when I say earthquake, I'm referring to the real life, because
Yes,
earthquakes in real life, they happen, the
they
challenges.
have that.
So I think while the building is being laid up, while the
Mm-hmm.
design is done, it is at that moment that you got to do the right things. Helping the child understand about entrepreneurship, helping him understand what's right, what works, what does not work, So, see, the way I look at this is, so I do two of my programs, and one is Extraordinary Teens, and the
Mm-hmm.
other one is Teenpreneurs. Because I feel, I stand for one thing, which is legends start early. Legends, they really start early, right? And
Right.
two reasons. One, because if you're starting early, you can get ahead, and if you're starting early, then you can actually go towards what you're really looking at. So I do these programs, and more than entrepreneurship. So the goal is not to make everybody an entrepreneur, or the goal is not
Absolutely.
uh, to probably push anybody or everybody to become an entrepreneur. But the idea is that, see, back home there are a lot of conversations around in the families that I interact with. A lot of them, they say, beta, अगर 90 नहीं आएंगे ना, 1995 नहीं आएंगे तो कॉलेज में एडमिशन नहीं मिलेगी,
Yes.
कॉलेज में अच्छा नहीं करोगे तो प्लेसमेंट नहीं होगा, right?
Absolutely.
Right from school days, everybody is priming the child
Hmm.
to go towards the job.
Yes. Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But what if there is something which lies inside the child, and he has a great idea, and if he can nurture them, why, you never know that he becomes the next entrepreneur who not only provides jobs but also solves a big problem. Entrepreneurship is also about solving issues, right? And
Right.
uh, and I think it stems from the mindset of parents at home at times, जहाँ पे parents ना out of their reasons of security and safety, कि
Yes.
बच्चा अच्छा पढ़े,
Uh-huh.
अच्छी नौकरी लग जाए, and बस वो
Hmm.
लगा रहे. So I
Yes.
think it is important to explore what a child has. So we do something called identity extraction.
Okay.
It's IE, identity extraction, wherein we help a child understand himself. I
Okay.
call it the teenager meeting himself or herself. When you actually realize that, what do you stand for? आपके अंदर क्या है? What is it that you can do? What are your strengths? Maybe you can take a certain path accordingly. And then second is that I believe this guy said. There's a guy that I really admire. He's no more. Jim Rohn. He said that you cannot be bigger than the size of your belief.
Hmm.
You really
Absolutely.
cannot be bigger than the size of your belief. So, what belief systems are these kids forming? And I'll share this thing for your understanding, and everybody's watching. When I get into a classroom in a school at times, and it's a class of 40 kids, and I ask, कि how many of you are really sure that you'll be really successful? Raise your hands.
Hmm.
Very unfortunately, out of 40 kids, I only see about three, four, five kids max raising their hands.
Is
You know what
it?
it tells me? Yeah, that's the reality. If you get a chance, go out and do it.
But then
And
I remember when we were asked this question, everybody used to raise their hands. How
see,
come
when we
this
were
is a
younger,
complete stage?
when we were
Okay,
younger,
okay, okay. So you're
when
talking
you
about
ask,
absolute teenager.
yeah, when you ask a teenager who is about 15, 16, and
Oh
ask them
yes.
that how many of you are dead sure that you'll be very successful in life, तब तक उनके सपने उड़ चुके होते हैं. वो जो बचपन के सपने होते हैं ना, मैं
Absolutely.
पायलट बनूंगा, मैं डॉक्टर एंड ऑल दैट, what goes in a
Right.
thin air, because the belief systems, they have changed completely. So we focus a lot on changing their belief systems at an early age.
Hmm.
मैं ज़्यादा
Okay.
अपने प्रोग्राम के बारे में बात नहीं करूंगा. I think let's we'll probably talk about my program some other day. But
Yes.
uh, the idea is that it's important that the kids pick up the right belief systems at an early age. This
Hmm.
is uh, this is the mantra, maybe, if you so want to understand that. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And from this statement itself, guys, I can assure you, if you want your kids to pick up a right mindset at early age, you only decide how important it is for you as a couple to have that mindset within you. Because it's been like last 50 minutes, Kamalneet is repeating this on and off that everything charity begins from home, the foundation begins from home, mindset begins from home, entrepreneurship begins from home, leadership begins from home. So you are the home, and you need to work upon your married life, your relationships so strongly that you will give that platform to your child to feel free to do whatever he wants to do in their life. If you are not sorted, you will never be able to raise a sorted child. He will see growing broken marriages, and he will still have the same belief system about a lot of things in life which you are failing at. So the entire point, the entire conversation will always join to my point, and I do not disagree to any part of what Kamalneet said, and I will go in flow that yes, everything what Kamalneet said is possible, very very possible. He has his programs, he has given 50,000 teams to this world, and he's going to touch 1 million by next 5 years. Think the kind of massive impact he is doing on the kids. But if you want to start from home, it's you who is going to sort your relationship out and then go for all the other things that are attached to it. And if you feel Kamalneet is amazing, because I love what Kamalneet said, he has a different perspective altogether, and he's so hilarious. I mean, I didn't even realize that we are talking about such crucial and sensitive topic. He's just taking so many beautiful stories and he's connecting to things that it just flow. So if you feel Kamalneet is awesome, which he is, so go and follow his page, like his Facebook page, go and follow him on Instagram, and also connect him if you want to attend this Sunday webinar. Kamalneet, can you just tell my audience about your page and your webinar that is happening this Sunday, so that even if anybody of yours is interested, they can definitely join you.
Which I'm doing a free webinar on Sunday on extraordinary teens, which is happening in the evening at 6 p.m. 6 to 7:30 is what I'm doing, and maybe I'll probably share the link in the comments.
Yes,
And
you can do
anybody who's
that.
willing to understand that can go through. Ruchi, I would really want to touch on that point that you said that about the broken marriages. uh,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that you are doing this work and you work with couples. This is a very crucial point, and I remember, when I do these interactions with kids. See, I'm a third party, I'm a neutral party. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a parent, so they don't have to hide anything from me. And in one of the discussions, I ended up asking them that, how many of you would want to go out and probably travel the world? And I remember time and again, I've heard that kids say that, I would go on a solo world tour. Solo. And I asked them, by what age? And some of them, they say, maybe by 25, 30, depending on how life will unfold. And I say, let's say you are 35. Then are you going solo or are you going with somebody? And I'm not saying, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
make them think.
yeah.
And they say, no matter, even if it is 35, 45, I'm going solo. And that makes me think. And then I asked them, why would you go solo at 35, 45? And they say, what? I think life is much better when we are solo. And I said, why?
Absolutely.
And sometimes they open up and they see that, and they say, कि what we see at home makes us think that, शादी करके करना ही क्या है? I laugh it off at times with them, but then I speak to them. But it actually gives me a spectrum as to what is happening at home is actually influencing them in a big way. And
Absolutely.
that sometimes bothers me. And yeah, and you're doing the right thing, Ruchi, by helping
Thank
couples
you.
understand what's crucial, and keep doing that. Let's make this world a better place.
Absolutely, that's the entire purpose of doing it. And also, Kamalin, while getting into my getting talking to my audience when I was interacting with young teens or adults, what I understood from them was that they prefer having instant Tinder pleasure than having a committed, messy relationship, and that is changing over and over again because these days, girls, boys, no matter your gender is, they are preferring instant pleasure without realizing the beauty of togetherness. One night stand is just going to get over when the morning starts. What about the real moment when you need somebody? You want somebody to empathize with you. You want somebody to understand you. Where will they stand? They would be all alone. And that's the beauty of relationship they are not looking at. And also, when you talk to teens, I would really want you to imbibe this feeling in them. I don't work with teens. I do not want to work right now with teens because my all focus is to help married couples settle their married life, and I have developed entire tool around it which has must have commandments. All that things have been done. But when you work with
I've
teens,
been hearing a lot about your tool, by the way.
oh,
And
is it how how
yeah,
how?
yeah, yeah. So some people that I know, they mentioned about the tool. In fact, we'll take it offline, and I'll probably try and use it on myself. Yeah. So
Obviously, I would be love to take a review on that too. So I would
I'm
want
hoping
you
my
to come
wife is
only.
not watching this.
Yeah, okay, your wife's name is K पे से कुछ है ना कम कमल
Raman, Raman. Raman.
Raman. Yes, yes. Then I know exactly who is the person who told you, because that person is the same person who told me to try the tool on you. So
Great.
yes, I would
Great.
do that. But Kamal, this is my humble request to you, because I was just waiting for this conversation to happen on live, and that is the reason I did speak to you offline, because I want everybody to hear this out. That whenever you're talking to a teen, or taking a session, please tell them that one night stand instant pleasures are just temporary. The beauty lies in a committed relationship, and just even if you don't focus on that, but at least have an open mind or open heart towards relationships. People are just
Correct.
not believing relationships anymore, and the next generation is completely fading. Even my brother, he is like कि छोड़ ना यारो लड़की को इंटरेस्ट नहीं है मैं क्यों कमिट करूँ. So the mentality and the attitude towards the relationship is changing altogether, and I don't want that the entire India, the nation of romance and everything that this Bollywood and Ramayana and Mahabharata and everything and every love story has given us is supposed fading away. So please, 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 my humble request to you would be just
Very good.
educate teens with a kind of relationship angle also.
Right. I will. I though touch on something which is there's something called personal values, and
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a part of it. But then now that you said, I'm going to probably focus it all the more, and
Mm-hmm.
deliver it with a different angle altogether. Yeah.
Yes,
So
and
thank you
I'm
for
sure
bringing.
you will get amazing and very, very funny replies. I am bet, because I've experienced it. I have heard people telling me certain things which I would even not want to disclose to anybody. So
Right.
you will understand that the views are changing altogether. So yes,
True.
thank you so much for being part of this live, and I really enjoyed. It's almost 1 hour, and we are about to end the session. So if you guys like this session, please go and follow this guy. He's amazing, and I'm sure you will be getting more value to your life when you start following Kamalneet on Facebook, on Instagram, he's on the both platforms. Also, don't forget to share this video so that more and more audience could benefit out of this, and you can definitely ask him any questions if you want to. All right, so this is Ruchi Hirani, and we are signing off with Kamalneet. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank
Good
you so
night.
much.
Have a happy night. Good night. Thank you, Kamalneet, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.